So as far as pitcher plants you're likely to run into them outdoors as Sarracenia, just this one genus of this family, Sarraceniaceae. This is in the order called Ericales. And pitcher plants have also evolved in this group called Cephalotus and in this group called Nepenthes, independent origins of pitcher plants. So you might think kind of a rather extreme modification, but 3 different times plants have figured out how to make those. So I just mentioned them. I don't need you to know so many details about them. But of course, I think they're kind of fascinating to most people. So this one's called Cephalotus. And cute little things. The scale isn't really shown on here, but maybe you can guess the size scale by these mosses that are on there. It's not a very large pitcher, kind of buried in and among some mosses and other plants. And just one species in just one genus in this family, and very limited range in southwestern Australia, Cephalotus. This other genus, Nepenthes, is diverse and widespread, relatively widespread in Southeast Asia. So Southeast Asia through Indonesia, quite a few different species and a variety of different pitcher shapes. So pitchers in this group are modified at the tip of the leaf. So this is the base of the leaf. This is photosynthetic. So the leaf base, but then it's got this tendril portion that goes beyond the leaf base and actually develops into the pitcher. So this is all one leaf, photosynthetic base, a little bit of a extending portion, and then a big old trap. Here the leaves aren't really shown, the photosynthetic portion not shown very well. You can see a little bit of coiling there. So that extending portion sometimes has tendril tendencies, and then at the tip modified into the pitcher. Much different size and shape to those pitchers as well. Don't go into the details on the flowers, but these are what Nepenthes flowers look like, rather extravagant. You might see these in greenhouses. They had some in the Old Brick Botanical Garden we went to for a field trip, and you might be able to buy them as plant pets. Otherwise, you're not going to run into them outside. So there's been lots of study. This is one of those groups that gets a lot of attention. They're interesting plants. They have lots of diversity in how their pitchers are put together. Lots of different interactions with animals, and lots of study for those reasons. So you can see just relative differences in size and sometimes funny shapes. Sometimes a little constriction there we'll talk about. And some of the more extravagant ways that these plants are interacting with animals are actually non-lethal to the animals. So here's an example where one of these pitchers has been determined to have acoustic properties. So if you're a bat flying around in the jungle and you're echolocating, this is a plant that will actually return the echolocation, sort of a reflective, a sound reflective structure that bats can figure out where it is, and they go to it. And the bats are actually not victimized by these plants, but they might roost in there, put some waste in there. So acoustically attracted to mutualistic carnivorous plants. So the plants are carnivorous, but we'll see that there are ways that they're not necessarily eating the animals that are giving them waste. This is one of the more fun examples. So this is basically a pitcher plant. Its ancestry and quite a few of its relatives are carnivorous. They kill and eat animals. Some of these have evolved into non-lethal pitchers. And so this is one where it's basically just a mammal toilet. It even has kind of a toilet look to it, right? So this constriction in the trap is like a goodwill gesture. It says, okay, well, if you fall into the water, this is going to keep you from getting into the deeper part of the digestive portion. So you can see the relative difference in size, or the size comparison of these mammals here. They come to visit and they put their bottoms right over the toilet part and they drop their waste in there. And that's really, from a plant's perspective, enriching for animal waste is not too far off from eating a whole animal. So if you can get away without killing an animal, why not? The animals are attracted. They come and they lap up some nectar that's produced on the lid of the kind of the cap structure of this pitcher. So they come, they're getting some nectar. This is a plant attracting an animal. And the positioning of the animal while it's there lapping up nectar is that its bottom is right over the pitcher, drop some nutrients in. And there are actually a few different species that have figured out this same strategy or other strategies to be non-lethal and collect animal waste instead of live animals. Yeah, so lots of cool carnivorous plants out there, huh?